Hey, aspiring English majors out there. You're at some point going to look at poems. A lot of poems. You're going to look at romantic poems, and comedic poems, and descriptive poems, and poems of poems, and poems of poets writing poems. And it's going to get a little sickening if you don't love that stuff. But there are ways to make it more fun, like reading your poems out loud on the internet. So this one I'm going to do for you guys today is by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, a romantic poet in the 18th century, and it's called This Lime Tree Bower My Prison. He is at home while his friends are outside looking at the natural beauty around them because his wife accidentally dropped a boiling skillet of milk on his foot, so he couldn't put any weight on it, and it was causing him a lot of pain, and he was in a very pissy mood because he's pissed off and shit. So at the beginning of the poem, he's sitting in his garden and he's just like, this sucks. Friends are gone, beauty's out there, I'm in here. That is his mentality. In the middle of the poem, he's describing all the kind of beautiful things that he can see. And finally, at the end of the poem, he stops and he's like, well, I'm going to hop off my high horse and really take a look. Oh, look, it's beautiful everywhere. Who'd have thought it? But that's pretty much what the poem is about, is that no matter where you look, you can find some form of beauty. And that's a pretty deep message, at least in my opinion. There's a line that says, no plot so narrow, be but nature there. Think about that. Anywhere in the world, if you have an open mind, you can look at it and say, yeah, there's nature. And it is hot. So, this lime tree bower my prison. Well, they are gone, and here must I remain, this lime tree bower my prison. I have lost beauties and feelings, such as would have been most sweet to my remembrance, even when age had dimmed mine eyes to blindness. They, meanwhile, friends, whom I never more may meet again, on springy heath, along the hilltop edge, wander in gladness, and wind down perchance to that still roaring dell of which I told. The roaring dell, o'er-wooded, narrow, deep, and only speckled by the midday sun, where its slim trunk the ash from rock to rock flings arcing like a bridge, that branchless ash, unsunned and damp, whose few poor yellow leaves ne'er tremble in the gale, yet tremble still, fanned by the waterfall. And there my friends behold the dark green file of long, lank weeds, that all at once, a most fantastic sight, still nod and drip beneath the dripping edge of the blue clay stone. Now my friends emerge beneath the wide, wide heaven, and view again the many steepled tract, magnificent of hilly fields and meadows, and the sea, with some fair bark, perhaps those sails light up, the slip of smooth, clear blue betwixt two isles of purple shadow. Yes, they wander on, in gladness all, but thou, methinks, most glad, my gentle-hearted Charles, for thou hast pined and hungered after nature many a year, in the great city pent, winning thy way with sad yet patient soul through evil and pain and strange calamity. Ah, slowly sink behind the western ridge, thou glorious sun, shine in the slant beams of the sinking orb, ye purple-heat flowers, richlier burn, ye clouds, live in the yellow light, ye distant groves, and kindle, thou blue ocean. So, my friend, struck with deep joy may stand, as I have stood, silent with swimming sense, yea, gazing round on the wide landscape, gaze till all doth seem less gross than bodily, and of such hues as veil the Almighty Spirit, when yet he makes spirits perceive his presence. A delight comes sudden on my heart, and I am glad as I myself were there. Nor in this bower, this little lime-tree bower, have I not marked much that has soothed me. Pale beneath the blaze hung the transparent foliage, and I watched some broad and sunny leaf, and loved to see the shadow of the leaf and stem above dappling its sunshine, and that walnut tree was richly tinged, and a deep radiance lay full on the ancient ivy, which usurps those fronting elms, and now, with blackest mass, makes their dark branches gleam in a lighter hue, through the late twilight. And though now the bat wheels silent by, and not a swallow twitters, yet still the solitary humble bee sings in the bean-flower. Henceforth I shall know that nature ne'er deserts with the wise and pure, no plot so narrow, be but nature there, no waste so vacant, but may well employ each faculty of sense, and keep the heart awake to love and beauty. And sometimes 'tis well to be bereft of promised good, that we may lift the soul, and contemplate with lively joy the joys we cannot share. My gentle-hearted Charles, when the last rook beat its straight path along the dusky air homewards, I blessed it, deeming its black wing now a dim speck, now vanishing in light, had crossed the mighty orb's dilated glory, while thou stoodst gazing, or when all was still, flew creaking o'er thy head, and had a charm for thee, my gentle-hearted Charles, to whom no sound is dissonant which tells of life. Deep. Now this Charles that he keeps referencing is, we can assume, one of his close friends. And the funny thing is, this Charles actually wrote him a letter years later and explained that he does not like nature that much. And there's a part in the poem where he's talking about how Charles pined and hungered after nature many a year in the great city pent. Yet Charles really liked it in the city. He was not an outdoorsy type of guy. So either we can look at this as Coleridge being mistaken, or as I like to think of it, Coleridge was trying to change the way people perceived nature. He wanted to make it sound like inside the city, with all the machinery and the gross calamity of cramped living, it was not to be sought after, and he wanted to open up people's minds to the beauty of nature. And that's a lot of what this poem is about, in my opinion. There's so much description going into every little detail. Ye purple heath flowers, kindle thy blue ocean. It's like, wow, deep. So there's this lime tree bower, my prison. Apparently not so much of a prison, more like a movie theater. He gets to watch for free. Good dig.